When Phil Knight was starting his shoe business in the 1960s, he had to borrow $50 from his dad in order to purchase his first order of shoes. Today, Nike is a global shoe empire raking in $50 billion a year. So how was this cash-strapped young man able to build a multi-billion-dollar company? Well, in his autobiography, The Shoe Dog, Phil wrote about a moment of eureka that changed how he sees the world. This is the story of young Phil Knight and the incredible worldview that changed his life. Part 1. Early Life. At the age of 24, Phil Knight had lived quite an ordinary life. He studied at the University of Oregon as an undergraduate student. He then went on to get a master's degree from Stanford University. And while Stanford is prestigious, the acceptance rate back then were much higher. In the 1960s, the acceptance rate for Stanford was a stunning 31%, and grad school is a lot less competitive than undergrad, making it easier to get into. Aside from all that, the average salary for a modern-day Stanford grad after 10 years is around $120,000, which is nothing compared to what he will make in the future. Phil also didn't have super rich parents. His dad worked as a publisher of the Oregon Journal. His mother took care of the home along with his two sisters. And like any young adult, Phil had many dreams. At different times, Phil dreamed about becoming a great journalist, a great novelist, a great statesman, and most importantly, a great athlete. But sadly, those dreams didn't come true. At the age of 24, Phil still had a lot of self-doubts. He wrote, "Why do I still feel like a kid? Worse, like the same shy, pale, rail-thin kid I had always been." Part 2. Eureka. In an early morning in 1962, Phil was running along the Oregon streets when he had a moment of eureka. Even today, long after Nike has become one of the biggest global brands, he can still recall the moment vividly. In his autobiography, he wrote, "At 24, I did have a crazy idea. I decided that the world is made up of crazy ideas. History is one long processional of crazy ideas. The things I love most, books, sports, democracy, free enterprise, started as crazy ideas. Let everyone else call your idea crazy. Just keep going. Don't stop. Don't even think about stopping until you get there. And don't give much thought to where there is. Whatever comes, just don't stop." That's a precocious, prescient, urgent advice I managed to give myself out of the blue, and somehow managed to take. Half a century later, I believe it's the best advice, maybe the only advice any of us should ever give. Part 3. Lessons and Insights. Few people are as successful and experienced in business as Phil. For him to say those words, we found 3 important insights. Lesson 1. The uncertainty of the real world. Many people subconsciously believe that business in the real world is more predictable than it really is. From elementary school to college, there was always the right answer, and the teacher had access to the right answers. However, in the real world, things are a lot more complicated. The changing nature of the real world means there are many uncertain things. Because of unknown factors, there are possibilities that no one knew were possible, open yet unsuspected secrets waiting to be discovered. Lesson 2. Contrarian ideas, secrets, and the creation of wealth. First, let's define those terms. A secret is something true, important, and not well known. A contrarian idea is an idea that very few people believes in. Contrarian ideas is the key to finding secrets, and finding secrets is the key to creating wealth. Most great companies are built upon ideas that seemed crazy, but correlated with an open yet unsuspected truth about how the world works. Internet, Uber, electricity, social media, bubble milk tea. Those lucrative markets, massive demands, and useful inventions of the modern world may seem obvious now, but they were all once crazy ideas. Ideas that few people knew or truly believed in. Because a secret is an idea that has not been vetted or approved by society yet. A person's best chance at finding secrets is to adopt a contrarian idea. Phil Knight saw the potential for Japanese shoes in the American shoe market. Alexander Graham Bell saw the possibility of the telephone. Henry Ford found a way to mass manufacture vehicles. But for a person to adopt a contrarian idea, they have to deviate from the norm. and that comes with its cost. The path towards success isn't quick. On the way, people may think of you as an idiot. They may say that your ideas are ridiculous, and that is only for those who eventually succeed. While all secrets are contrarian ideas, not every contrarian idea is a secret. In other words, contrarian ideas are necessary but not sufficient for success. In fact, most startups and new businesses fail. The author of the book 0 to 1 wrote, "The prospect of being lonely but right, dedicating your life to something that no one else believes in, is already hard. The prospect of being lonely and wrong can be unbearable." If the path is so hard, why did Phil believe it to be his best advice? I believe that the core audience he is writing to are people who want to a certain degree, succeed in business. And while a contrarian idea may not guarantee success, it is a necessary ingredient. Lesson 3. How is being a contrarian different from being delusional? What made him different was that he rationally chose to pursue a contrarian idea. He wasn't blindly believing in something, he was following the evidence. He also didn't presume that it would come true, rather he believed it to be a worthwhile pursuit. Another thing to note is that he wasn't trying to be different for its own sake. A famous entrepreneur wrote, "A contrarian isn't one who always objects. That's a conformist of a different sort. The contrarian reasons independently from the ground up and resists pressure to conform." Having a contrarian mindset isn't the goal, it is only a tool that can help you discover the secrets leading to success.